With the drop of the Fast and Furious 10 trailer, I thought it was time to do something super ambitious with the channel. And that is to build one of the franchise's more iconic cars, Paul Walker's Evo 7.
Damn raw, man, he like them apples!
And this is what we're starting with, but there is just one problem. I broke it.
Oh, that does not look good. That's a lot of metal.
But this isn't going to stop me, so come along for the ride as I build my version of Paul Walker's Too Fast, Too Furious Evo 7.
So straight up, let's explain how I actually broke the car. The plan was, before modifying it, I was going to do this run at a local car event, take it up this hill and get a time against Brody's RS Focus.
You're after me because I'm 1, and you're 2nd. Huh?
Very funny.
Yeah,
But
no,
as you've seen, this did not go to plan. On the very first launch at the practice run, the transmission decided it wanted to turn into porridge. So we are pulling that out and we are replacing it with the Evo 7 5-speed manual transmission. Well, after some ugga-duggers getting that wheel out of the way, we get to the job of removing that front CV that is attached to the transaxle, which is the first piece of the puzzle of getting this gearbox out. Now you want to get that lock pin out of the way, which is made easy with a pair of long nose pliers and a hammer, which will allow you to undo the CV axle nut. A trick I use with this is putting a flat blade screwdriver between the brake disc vents and resting against the brake caliper, which locks everything into place so you can loosen off that nut. Now on the Mitsubishis, I personally find it's easier to undo the struts. Undoing these two nuts is going to give me enough room to pull that CV out. But be warned, if these have not been undone before, it's going to give you a bit of a fight and it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Now you'll probably notice I've already unbolted the caliper. This is definitely not necessary, but it makes it a little easier to see what you are doing, and little things can make a big difference. Now once everything is out of the way, I grab the axle nut, put it back on that CV, and I tap it with the hammer, which will start to move the CV out of the hub. And as you'll see on this last little bit, I've just grabbed one of those strut tail bolts, and I'm hitting it on the end of the CV, get that CV out of that hole completely.
Alright, now that we've got this all disassembled, we've got the brake on here, we've got the ABS loose, we've got the CV all ready to come out. We're going to drain the oil out of the automatic transmission. So pretty much what we got to do, just behind this bit of plastic, there's the bung to undo the automatic transmission, and yeah, we're going to undo it.
So you all know what happens from here. There seems to be more metal in this oil than metal components in the actual gearbox. But it doesn't matter, we're going to go manual, so we don't double clutch and we don't granny shift like we should. Or was it the other way around?
Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should.
Now a lot of people struggle with this next bit, and that is removing the CV from the gearbox. That's because there is a snap ring that is keeping everything together. Normally, this is a 2-person job, so go rope in one of your mates to give you a hand. You need one person pulling on the CV and the other person with a pry bar prying against the gearbox and the back of the CV. Once you're both in sync, the CV should come flying out, no worries at all.
That got that. Yep, beautiful.
The next bit you've got to focus on is this shaft. I've seen people take hammers, screwdrivers, pliers, multi-grips, anything to try and get this out. There is no need to be forceful. A bolt, a washer, and a large socket is all you need to get this out without causing any damage. As you can see, it's as easy as this, and once that's taken care of, I move to the other side to remove the right hand CV. Once that is done, it's just getting the plastics out of the way so we can get to a heap of bolts. Now there isn't really an order to do this, but how I like to start is removing the cross brace so I can get to the starter motor, the exhaust, and any bolts under the car first. Now the gearbox mount on top, I like to do this last, because it's a bit of peace of mind that this gearbox isn't going to drop on my face in a hurry. Now after I removed the cover plate off the gearbox, I exposed the torque converter and the flexi plate. Now on the Evo there are 6 bolts here, and we need to get to them all, so what we do is we put the gearbox into neutral, put a ratchet on the hydraulic balancer bolt, and we turn the engine so we're able to get to every single bolt.
Now that we've removed all those bolts, got everything out of the way underneath the car, it's time to go into the top of the car and remove the bolts from the top of the gearbox. Now they're underneath all this sort of stuff, so we have to remove the battery, probably the battery tray, and we have to do the intake. So I'm going to do that right now.
I think it goes without saying that most OEM engine bays are pretty cramped, and the Evo is definitely on this list. Even though it's not the worst, you are going to struggle to get to the top gearbox bolts out from the top without moving a heap of stuff. While you're in this section, you'll notice that there's a bunch of sensors on the gearbox and the shifting cable on it as well. It's a good idea while you're in this area to unbolt or undo any connections. So you're going to get to this point where you come across this amazing idea from Mitsubishi. So this bolt behind this banjo fitting, which is the part that I'm taking off right now, isn't accessible from the top. So for mere mortals, it's impossible to get apart. The oil fin needs to be removed first, and once that bolt is taken care of, you'll be able to use a pry bar to separate the transfer case from the gearbox, letting you spy on this last little bolt. Now because this is the last one that connects the engine and the gearbox together, I'm using a jack for some extra support before I undo this last bolt. I don't want this thing moving, and like I said before, I don't want this landing on my face. So I was given this gearbox a once over, and I found out that I hadn't actually disconnected these automatic transmission oil cooling lines. These are the float and return lines that we will not be needing anymore, which I will cover blanking these off in another video. But for now, we don't need these, so I've disconnected them. So it's time to actually disconnect the last 2 gearbox mounts. So there's this one, which was a complete pain, and finally the top one on top of the gearbox.
And there you go, it is out. And as you can see right next to me, I've got this beautiful manual gearbox ready to go in. We're going to pull this apart and examine it on the next episode probably, and also pull the interior out and get that third pedal in. We've got the automatic transmission here, and what I've done, guys, I've left all the bolts in there for you so you know where all the bolts have to go back in if you're doing this yourself at home. As you obviously can see, I've got the new clutch kit there, and we've got some Gilgul gas, and we've got a little toy there because that is what I showed to my son. I said, son, this is what we're building. So he's going to be helping me out as well. Like I said before, if we get 1,000 likes, I will try to do that trick in an all drive. I definitely can do it in a front drive. I've never done it in an all drive, so that's going to be interesting. But I want to see those likes first. And also, thank you so much, guys, for watching my stuff and supporting me. I really appreciate it. This is what I love to do, so hopefully we can build the channel up a bit more. And you know what? 2023 might be a great year for all of us. So anyway, that's it. Thank you, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.